folks, welcome back to another tier list video. I'm Black Templar, and we'll continue on with a little Blood Bowl 3 / Blood Bowl 2020 tier list series, but this time around we're going through the YouTuber League variant. Now the YouTuber League variant is quite simple. 12 games with 4 playoffs. So keep that in mind, 12 games, 4 playoffs, so more time to build. So let's get to the crux, shall we? So if you didn't remember my last video, I'll rank each team as I see fit, who I think is better or worse depending on each league season. As many of you know, is for top tier, they're the best of the best. A is pretty much they're good, not top tier, but very, very good. B is average, basically the middle ground that could go good or bad. C is below average, they're not great. And D means dog shite. They are crap. They will not fit well. They're very hard to work with. So let's start off with the Amazons. As a man who's using Amazons himself, early life, depending on who I'm facing, I'm a nightmare to deal with. However, mid to late season, this is where the problems will lie. Now, on one hand, I will get a lot of good skills. However, and here's the big problem, I will be only probably getting 4 or 5 players with new skills. The rest will have to pretty much work hard to get them. But as the season progresses, I am going to be harder and harder to deal with. But at the same time, I will get sniped out by many teams who will probably have 4 or 5 tackle pieces by the time we get to the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, if I suffer any major injuries and all that, that could be a massive detriment to my health. But at the same time, they are a nightmare to deal with. So where do they fit in the grand scheme of things? A rank. Again, they're so good and cheap for what they can do. And the fact that you can have more time to develop them more properly makes them even more deadly. Blackhawks. Now, I did say in the last video of Black Orcs that they did suffer a lot because of the time constraints. However, because they now have essentially 16 games to develop, they do get better. Do they become above B team? No. Yet again, you have relying on the Goblins to get there quickly to get points, and hoping the Blackhawks do some damage. But other than that, they are a good team. So they are going to stay in the B category, but they do have their major issues. They're still good, don't get me wrong. They're still good, and if you can get skills on them, they're nasty buggers. But getting those skills is going to be an issue for the Blackhawks because they don't have, unlike the Amazons who have outs, they really have to rely on the Goblins to get the goals, and hopefully they get a good round of good punches. Chaos Dwarfs. Right. This is where the Dwarfs have a bit of a problem. They are the proverbial glass ceiling teams. They're strong early life. They are menaces. They are just nightmares. But later on, they do get weaker and weaker because many teams have got ways of breaking armor, ways of getting away from them, and ways of pretty much frustrating them. Now, this is where unfortunately these guys struggle because they got to try and get their Bull Centaur's skills quickly. I mean, don't get me wrong, the blockers are still good players, but in a league where endurance will play a big factor, and plus, like if the Hobgobs and the Bull Centaurs don't get skills quickly, they could struggle. And the Minotaur is still a good piece, but by that point, you're either going to have it or not. You're going to be in a situation where your team's that strong you don't need it, or you're going to need it just to spend the coffers and also have someone there just to break lines. Now, in the last video, I put them in S. I'm putting them in A. It's because of the time it takes. Like I said, you've got more time to get them, but you have to get them quickly. Because like I said, in the 6-fire league matches, quickfire league, they're already skilled enough to do what they need to do, but in the league, they need more time. Are they good? Absolutely. But will they get better? 9 out of 10, you're only going to pick one skill for your blockers, which is, well, 2 skills actually, which you might blow in guard, and boom, you're done. But getting them is going to be the hard part. Renegades. Right. I put the Renegades in B because they had a lot of options. And yet again, I still agree with that still. They're still going to be average because the same thing applies. Even if the elf who's going to be your main ball runner gets a lot of good skills, you're still relying on the others to try and bulk up. And it's good to go out for them to get that skill set. So, in my honest opinion, they're still a good average team. They're not like majorly powerful, but they're not majorly, underpowered. They're just in the middle. They just have a lot of tricks. You just gotta be more wary of them. Chaos. Now, Chaos, in the last one, I put them in D because they took two, like C. No, sorry, I put them in C because they were underwhelming. They were not strong. But in this kind of format, they do get stronger. They get better. In fact, they get more deadlier because they've got more time to make a dedicated ball handler, dedicated attackers. They have more time. And that's the good thing about this league. It gives them more time. So I would put them in the B category. They were C once, but they're in B. They're still going to be deadly, but they're going to need more time. Dark Elves. Now this is where the Elves start to benefit. I put them in A, but with a 12-game streak and with more time, the Elves go from A to S. Yes, because of that factor. Time is on their side. Like I said, in the 6-5 league match, they could get some of the skills quickly, but you're relying on hopefully not getting murdered in the process, where in a 16-style game league, you've got more time to get the skills, replace players if they get too badly injured. If it's a lineman, you don't really much care, but once your blitzers have got like 3 or 4 skills under their belt, they're terrifying. And considering I've faced Dark Elves many times and I've seen them really give me headaches, they earn their place here. Dwarfs. Now, Dwarfs are an interesting case. Yet again, they're annoying to deal with, as I said before, and they're like tanks, similar to the Chaos Dwarfs. But this is where the problem lies. They gotta hope that their runners quickly get a skill up to get blodge pieces. Once it happens, yes, they're hard to deal with. But also the slowness will now take more effect. Unlike the quick fire league, where, like I said slowness could affect them, but to be honest, 9 out of 10 they wouldn't care. They just bulldoze their way through. It's the same case here, but I would say this is where the Dwarves will start to struggle a little bit, but not too much. It's still going to be a tough team to deal with and a hard team. So they're in the S category again because they are a nightmare to remove. But like I said, they get weaker because of the length of time, because more and more teams will have ways of stopping their blocks, stopping their tricks, and then frustrating them. But in this format, they're still strong in the YouTuber style format. Goblins. See, underwhelming again. As funny as Goblins are, they are practically relying heavily on their inducements and heavily getting some good luck with the weapons. And get some good luck on their fouls. But other than that, they have got some tricks, but they are relying heavily on those. And they're not, I can't in good conscience put them in D because I've seen Goblins do bloody well in seasons, so I put them in C. Halflings. C again, because yet again, the problem with Halflings is, and this is the big problem with them, they're relying heavily on inducements as well for them to work, and they gotta hope they don't have a match where they just get absolutely murdered. If they get a good run of luck, they will be nightmares to deal with, but if they don't, well, we all know how that goes. It goes messily. Very messy indeed. High Elves. A rank. I was tempted to go S with them, but the problem with High Elves is, yet again, is that they suffer from crippling problems. Basically, if any of their best pieces gets taken out, that's a problem. But they are still a great team. They can win leagues. They have won leagues in the past. They've even been in finals in the past. So they are a good team. It depends really also the coach who's using them. But if it's a good coach, they're going to make them great. But if not, then we might see some problems. But yeah, they're an A-rank team, without a shadow of a doubt. Humans, A-rank. Jack of all trades again, but by the time they reach the playoffs, they are a nasty team. They have got good skills. They've already developed the team they want to be. You don't care much about the linemen because they're gonna die anyway. But once your main players that you want leveled up are leveled up and strong and can cause utter mayhem, they're a nightmare team. And if you can get your runner block and then the next skill, most likely you're gonna give him a movement up or sprint. He's pretty much gonna be like as soon as he gets the ball and he's away from everyone, he's gonna be doing a lot of scoring. So yeah, A rank for these guys. No, Imperial nobility, bleh, English. S rank. Like I said in the previous video, they have a good team, but they do suffer from the fact that time will not be on their side. But a 16-man league, oh god, they will have the time they need to develop their team into a horrific passing slash brute force team. And they rely on counterattacking as well, so this may make them a good team. So I'm putting them on S because they are a nightmarish team to deal with. Because they've got good passing skills, they've got good catching skills and blocking. They've got Resto, they've got Fend. They're going to be a nightmare to deal with. Khemri. Now, I put them in D last time because it was dog shit in that league. However, they're going to go up. Unfortunately, they will go up to C. Because, see, unfortunately for the Khemri, they still need a little more time. Now, don't get me wrong. The Blitz, the Thrower will quickly level up insanely, and you're going to make him into a blodge piece. You're going to try and get into a blodge piece, or a better get better agility to hold the ball more efficiently. The Tomb Guardians, if they're quick enough, can get Mighty Blow, or if you want, save up the XP to get block for these guys, because that is an option you can do. But I would warn you that could take a little time, because you gotta remember you don't roll for it, you buy it. So, and secondary skills, I think are like 50k per one. So yeah, they need a little more time, but they're much better than before, and they've got more time to play with. Your Blitzwall's gonna be a nightmare as well, because once the Blitzwall gets like Mighty Blow or Guard, they're gonna be a nightmare. Same with Khemri, they'll get Guard as well, and they could be an absolute force to deal with. But they need time, and that's been their problem. With other teams that ways around them, it could be a bit of an issue. Lizardmen, A rank. Come on, guys. We all know the Lizardmen. The more time they get, the better they get. As soon as the Sorais get blocked, they're practically shouting, I'm going to bash your skull in, and I'm going to enjoy it. And also you got the Skinks as well, who you could level them up to be like little annoying little buggers. You could try and get them to block status, or you could have them have sprint, sure feet, sidestep. They will have a lot of good skills and fun tools to play with. So basically, they'll get better as time progresses. Necromanic. Now, I said for the Necromanic, they needed time to develop, and that is true. However, as I've also stated, they're a bit slow in certain parts, and you're relying on 4 players to do all the ball work. Now, the Ghost, however, he becomes a bit more effective because he's got more time to develop the skills that you want to make the Ghost do, which 9 out of 10 is going to be either a helper or an absolute monster blocker. Depends how you want to turn him into. The Werewolf is the same. You can get him quickly to get like dodge and block and make him a blodge piece, because if you get a Werewolf blodge, he is practically next to impossible to deal with. And with claws as well, he's practically a walking, he's basically I would akin him to a war dancer, but better, in my view. Now, I also forgot to mention, a lot of people said, where's the Kids? Many people asking where the Kislev are. They're not in the game, unfortunately, so I can't add them. So that's why Kislev are not in. But anyhow, back to Necromanic. I would say I would put it in B, but even though I didn't even mind, but because the claw nerf, they're going to go to C. They're going to be hard, but they're still going to be decent. But they're going to need a tiny bit more time to make them an absolute to go up the ranks and become nightmares. Norse. Now, in the last video, I put them in A. They're going down to B because, like I said before, the time thing. Because many teams have gotten stronger during the time, and Norse, being Norse, given armor problems, is a big issue. I know what you think, but Amazon's got a pass because Amazons have dodge. Dodge is a ludicrous good skill. Block as well, but because block, you don't have a way to deal with getting smacked on your ass. That's where the Norse will have the problems. So Norse do get weaker. Now, don't get me wrong, Norse can become a nightmarish team if they're given the time to build their team up, but that's a problem. Building up and time might not be on their side. So, Norse, average. Good team, but average. Nagul. In the last video, I put them in D, which they were dog shit, which they were. However, they are now moved up to B. They're moving up to C. Like Necromanic, they're slow. They don't have any players who can pick up the ball, barring the Pestigors and the Rotters. But many players can get good skills and become dedicated players. Unfortunately, this is where the problem lies. The Rotters. The Rotters, I'm afraid, is the big issue. Because when the Rotters start taking injuries, that's when your team starts to struggle. They're not bad, but yet again, they need more time to make the team stronger. And unfortunately, in a 16-game season, we all know Nurgle takes a long time to get going. But they're still a good team, but I would say they're underwhelmed at the moment. Ogres. Now, Ogres is a funny team. They're not dog crap, but they're not great either. Not underwhelming either. They're in a bit of an odd flux. Because, yes, they have more time to build up their Ogres, but you're relying on the Ogres to do a lot of damage work and getting a few MVPs in the process. So, the Ogres are in a bit of a... I would say they're in the toughest of binds at the moment. But the good thing about the Ogres is they can develop over time better than some of their counterparts. So we're going to put them in C. Orcs. Orcs. A. The time. They've been given more time to develop their players to what they need to be. Because 9 10, the blitzers are going to take block, tackle, and mighty blow. They're going to take those 3 skills. Because 9 10, you're going to use the thrower as a runner. And plus the fact, well, the other players like the Orcs and Biggins will have more time to develop to become a very naughty team to deal with. And a bit hard. So, yep, I would say they are going to get better with time on their side. Old World Alliance. Oh boy. Where I put these guys? Are they dog crap? No, but close. Are they average? No. Nowhere. They're to a C. It's a time thing. Because you gotta remember, you've got to hopefully get the ball and hold your ground without getting murdered. Now, don't get me wrong. Once you've upgraded the Dwarfs and the Blitzers and the Thrower, it can be more palatable. They can be decent, but it's that time factor that's the problem. They need time to develop, and a 16-game season doesn't give them that much time. It gives time to get 3 or 4 players upgraded, but one player's not going. A few of the good pieces might not, get up there quick enough, and they might struggle. Pro Elves. S. Like the Dark Elves, more time to develop their key players to become nightmares to deal with. And plus the fact they've got a lot of options to their skills. Like, I believe the Pro Blitzers have got block, agility, and general as their choices. I think passing, I think, is the only one they don't have an option with. Their forwards got pass, agility, and they've got a lot of options to play with, and you could tool them as you see fit. So, in my honest opinion, the Pro Elves are a nightmare. When they get up more, and plus they're cheap and easy replaceable, they're going to be hard to deal with. So yeah, S tier for them. As you notice, a lot of players are going on S tier because the time factor starts kicking in. Skaven, A rank. Again, not. I did say in the last video they were inches from S rank, but not this time. Why? Because more teams have more ways of dealing with the gutter runners. And that's what I'm saying. When I said in the previous video that certain teams will go up and down, fluctuate because of the time issue, well, I'm kind of showing that can happen. They're still good players. It's a good team. The gutter runners are a nightmare to deal with. Because of the fact as well, they don't get the turn one touchdown anymore. Because you can only allow one increase, stat increase. Make them 10, and even with those skills, they're going to struggle. So, they're a good team. Top team. Tournament, they are winners. But they do suffer from, the time issue is going to go against them this time around. Snotlings. Dog shite, guys. I'm sorry, but the reason I'm saying this is because, one, everyone's going to be in ridiculously powered up mode to beat the crap out of the Snotlings. And plus that as well, even if you have all the world's inducements, you're relying heavily on your star players doing something. And if the star players have won their bad games, they're not going to do much. And if you take star players with weapons, or you take star players such as like, 9 out of 10 you would get Morgan Forg, and he is a nightmare to deal with, but 9 out of 10 you could easily counter him, just saying, right, screen him and go, right, come and get me. And as soon as you lose your pump wagons as well, that team tends to struggle. So, you're relying on inducements, they're not great. Not in this league, at least. But we'll come to later on. Undead. Bang average. By that point, your ghouls and your rights are a good, like, blitz and pieces. The mummy's got, like, mighty blow and guard. It's got, like, some good skills to keep the line in check. And some of the zombos will have, like, a block or two just to, be there just to become defenders. So, Undead will be a lot better, a lot stronger. But they still rely on those 4 players to keep them alive. And if they go, oh boy. Underworld. C. Yes. I am hearing you lot screaming. Why are they still C? They should be up to B. Because they're still weak armored. And you're relying on a gutter runner to do the business. And you gotta hope that the troll can throw the snotlings or the goblins down the field. Now, you will get some inducements, don't get me wrong, but you're still relying heavily on a bit of lots of luck with these guys. So, yeah, they're C class. I would have put them in B, but they're C because their armor is not the greatest, and animosity can really give you a headache. I mean, the same with the orcs, but the orcs have ways around it because they've got more sturdier armor. Vampires. C. Because by that point, guys, you've probably gotten some good vampiric skills. Your team's gonna be more. It's gonna be more like fluent. They're gonna be more harder to deal with. But yet again, the animal savagery / the thralls, they're gonna be the main issue. So I'd put them to C. They're still a good team, but they're not that category yet. Wood Elves. B. Unfortunately for the Wood Elves, guys. Yes, if the catcher, the thrower, and the war dancers have gone around without being killed or murdered or status hit, they're going to be good. However, the problem is with the Wood Elves, and I think we can all agree on this, is they're very fragile. I mean, you don't care if, a normal lineup gets bullet, but if your strong pieces get caught out and killed, that's going to be a problem. And that is it, guys. That's my tier list for the YouTuber style league format. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it's wrong or right, let me know what you think. Anyway, folks, that's it for this video. If you like the video, what? Sorry, English. If you like the videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Ring the bell. And on my next video, we'll be covering Monster Season. And oh boy, that's gonna be fun. I'll catch you later.